Hi, my name is Peter Hartman, and I think it's time we had the talk. The talk, you know what I'm talking about? No, not that talk. The talk about saving the world. All right, that talk. What, you've never had that talk before? I think today's a good time to do that, okay? Everybody should have to talk about saving the world, and today, it's your time. So if you'll just give me a little bit of your attention, I'll just get started. Look, I'm a regular guy. I'm a regular dude. All right. I put my pants on one leg at a time. You know, so some days I don't even put on pants. All right. Average, regular dude. I'm a motivational speaker and a motivational consultant. I also am a comedian. Love all those things. But the thing that I'm the best at, the skill that I have that is the best is appreciation. I appreciate. Now, I don't mean appreciation. Sometimes you hear appreciation, you think, oh, that means that you like things. You know, there's a lot of things I don't like. Okay, there are a lot of things that bother me, a lot of things that frustrate me, a lot of things I don't like. But appreciation, what that really means is to see value, to see something's value. When you appreciate something, when you see its value, that doesn't mean you necessarily like it, but you can see how it fits into the world. And I'm really good at that, at least for those things that I've given my attention to. I remember when it started for me, appreciating, when it really sank in, became a part of my personality. Years ago, I was like 12 years old, moved into new housing, government housing, or government subsidized housing or something, with my family. And I was overjoyed, very, very happy to be moving into this place, okay? It was kind of a rough neighborhood, but I liked it because it was far better than what we had come from before, okay? Everybody had their own room. So there were 5 bedrooms in this new place compared to our 2-bedroom place that we were in before. Everybody's cramped into one room there. Here we had 5 bedrooms. Everybody had their own bedroom. Well, except for my twin brother Tom and I. We still had to share a room. You know, didn't have that many rooms, but we had an upstairs and a downstairs. We had 2 bathrooms. We had a den, a living room, a kitchen. It was heaven. Okay, we really loved this place. I really loved it, and it was in this area called Saint Henry in Montreal. And in order to get to school, I had to take the subway, and I had to do like this. I couldn't go from A to B. I couldn't go directly from A to B to get to the subway. I had to go into this L shape, this L pattern. And back then I was incredibly impatient. You know, I worked through that. I found ways to resolve that. So I'm not so bad these days, but I was terrible back then. And I hated the idea. I hated the fact that I couldn't walk from A to B in a direct line. And it wasn't because there were some like buildings blocking the path or something like that. That wasn't the reason I couldn't go A to B. That wasn't the reason I had to go in that L shape. I had to do it because although there was this big open field that you could walk across, that field was surrounded by a fence and was barred off by a fence. Right where I needed to go, there was a fence, and the gate was locked and couldn't get through the fence. But not long after I was there, I discovered that someone would cut a hole in the fence in order to get through, to walk right where I wanted to walk, right along that AB route to get to the subway. Someone would cut open the fence and walk through. And I thought, wow, I mean, I would never do that. Thank God that they did that, right? And it was interesting, even in the wintertime, even when the snow was piled high, somebody still came by, cut that fence open just to, I'm guessing it's to do the same thing that I wanted to do, get that shortcut going, because I'd see the footsteps in the snow, right? I'd see the footsteps in the snow marching along, and I'll tell you, I felt such appreciation for the person who cut open that fence and walked through that snow, you know? Yeah, I'm guessing it was illegal, okay, but I don't encourage illegality, but I appreciated it, okay? I was 12 years old, impatient as all heck, and I get to the fence, and right where I needed to be open, someone has cut that open. And right where I need to walk, somebody has walked, and they make it easier for me to walk there. I remember thinking this, oh my God, this appreciation. Every winter would come by, the snow would fall, and somebody, at least one person, would be walking through there, through that path right where I wanted to go, and made it so much easier for me to just walk through those steps. And more people would go through over time, and then that path would get more and more worn and become easier and easier to go through. My appreciation to the person who cut that fence and made those first steps, footsteps in the snow. So I began appreciating, I began seeing the value in the world around me, seeing the value in the people that I interacted with, and that started me on a path of an interesting perspective that I feel has brought me to where I am today. And I want to share that perspective with you on the topic of happiness. So, working in the self-help field as a motivational speaker, I meet people on a regular basis who have given themselves over to the pursuit of happiness. The pursuit of happiness, right? It's such a complicated thing. It's so kind of like nebulous, you know? I mean, what the heck does that really mean? I mean, happiness is one of these terms where you've got to kind of define it for yourself, right? You've got to kind of figure that out because it's like love, right? It's ethereal. It's nebulous. It's intangible. It's hard to put into words. But I obsess about these things, and I've put it into words, at least for my own purposes. And I'll give you a definition for happiness, and you'll tell me if you agree. All right? Agree or not, at least you'll know that's the way I see the world. All right. So happiness is the combination of pleasure and purpose. Right? You got to have pleasure for happiness, right? There's no definition of happiness that's not going to include pleasure. It's got to feel good. It's that momentary spike that you feel in your body, the stimulation in your body from those cascading chemicals in your body, the dopamine and the oxytocin and the serotonin, right? And the adrenaline or whatever the heck is getting you feeling happy in that moment. When you are talking about the pursuit of happiness, when you're talking about happiness, you've got to be talking about some type of pleasure in your body, right? Well, second to that is purpose. Now, purpose is a tricky one. Purpose is another one of those airy-fairy words that what does it really mean? But purpose, at least for my use, is best defined as meaningful action. Meaningful action. That's action that is in accordance with your values and in accordance with your goals. Right? If the actions that you take, you value those actions, right? They're within your ethical framework and moral framework. They fit within your worldview, right? And you also you get moved towards your goals, right? Also, these actions move you towards your goals. Then now you're feeling the best of both worlds. You're feeling both pleasure, right? The physical sensation in your body. You're feeling meaningful action, so things that go accordance with your value and go towards your goals. And that's happiness to me. That is the pursuit of happiness, right? Finding ways to experience pleasure and purpose. And if you can get those two together, it's the sweetest feeling. So I meet people on a regular basis who are in the pursuit of happiness, and they're trying to find pleasure and they're trying to find purpose. And I'm telling you this just in case you're that type of person. I want to let you know what you're looking for, right? Because if you don't define these terms, if you don't define what these things mean to you, then you can kind of get lost, right? What is happiness? Well, I just told you. Happiness is pleasure and purpose. Now, as a motivational speaker and consultant and personal development teacher, like working in the self-help field, I'm obsessed. I'm always obsessively thinking, what is the best thing to tell people? What is the best thing for someone to do? What is the best thing to do? I want to know the best way to help. And I've thought about this for many, many, many years. And I've come to a conclusion. I've come to a perspective, the happy for change perspective. And I think once you hear it and understand it fully, you're going to be totally on board with me.